Papa, ik had willen wachten met het schrijven van deze brief tot na 15 januari, want dan moet u de beslissing nemen over de zaak. Ik wilde u niet nog in zorg erbij geven, terwijl u er toch al zo dik in zit met haar, die niet weet wat hij wil, Pim, die niet best studeert, en Kluk, die volgens mama's laatste brief ook weer wat moeite geeft. Tot nu toe hebt u nog maar weinig plezier van uw kinderen gehad. En nu zit ik hier met het ergste wat een meisje kan overkomen. Ik hoop zo dat ik de juiste beslissing heb genomen met het houden van de baby. Ik realiseer me natuurlijk dat ik er een vrij moeilijke tijd tegemoet ga. Maar ik ben er bijna zeker van dat onze lieve Heer me zal helpen. Zoals ik al zei, financieel zit ik voor de eerste paar weken wel goed. Ik heb nu 465 pond op de bank staan, over 3000 gulden, dus dat is niet slecht. Iedereen vraagt me of ik nu terug ga naar Nederland, maar eerlijk gezegd voel ik daar niet veel voor. Ik heb het te veel in Australië naar mijn zin. Ik weet niet of ik hier de rest van mijn leven wil blijven. Ik geloof het niet. Maar op het ogenblik is het enige wat ik wil een leuke flat vinden en eindelijk eens mijn koffers uitpakken. Sinds juni, toen ik naar Stratford ging, have I been living out of a suitcase and I'm thoroughly sick of it. Volgende week ga ik dus flink zoeken. Nou, dat is interessant. I don't remember that at all.
You talk about your father now in this part of the letter. Can you tell us
more?
more?
It says here that my father had to make a decision about his business.
Yeah.
In 1966. I remember I used to lend him money. Before I went to Australia, I used to lend him money. His business, I think he did make some funny decisions.
What was his business?
Oh, selling bicycles.
Yeah.
And then a couple of my brothers weren't too good. Weren't doing all that well, and he had that worry, and I didn't want to add to his worries.
Yeah.
So I said, so I've waited writing this letter until, maybe I should have waited until after the 15th of January when you have to make this decision about the shop and all the other worries about the boys.
Mm-hmm.
But I obviously wanted to write it.
Yeah. What about, besides your dad's business, what about his personality? Can you tell us?
He's just a happy-go-lucky man.
Yeah.
He was very clever. He was a clever salesman.
Mm-hmm.
He always sussed out his customers when they came to buy a bike. He sussed them out. He worked around what they were like.
Mm-hmm.
He had a storage area which was a little bit sort of about 5-minute walk from the shop. So as he was taking the people over to this area where they could pick out which bike they liked, he talked to them and found out about their personality and what sort of bike would suit them.
Yeah. No.
So that made it easier for him to sell.
So he's a very people person.
Yeah, very, very much a people person. And very much a father.
Yeah.
You know, spent every Sunday with us going somewhere.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people to have a combi van, a VW combi van.
Yeah.
And we'd all pile into this combi van, of course, in the weekends. And he'd take us somewhere, a forest to go for walks or an exhibition or whatever was going on. A ship that was stranded in the ocean, or it was in the ocean in the North Sea. We'd go and see this ship that was stranded, and it was always somewhere to go.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it was, you know. Can you imagine a combi van? Of course, there's lots of seats and everybody in there. So everybody...
10 boys and...
Everybody had a little one on the lap.
Yeah.
No seatbelts. Nobody ever heard of seatbelts. So you see everyone a little one on the lap.
So funny.
Yeah.
I would love to have that footage.
Yeah. That would have been really good.
Yeah. I've been told that you were the Kennedys of Leyden. What do you think of that? What could such a statement be based on?
Well, my father owned a lot of real estate, and of course his father got it. I tell you about that grandfather. He when the war broke out, the Second World War, the Germans ran over Holland, and everybody was in a panic, of course. But on that day, there was a big auction on of real estate. Now, my grandfather went to that auction, And nobody had the courage to buy real estate because the war was coming. So he bought a lot of real estate really cheaply.
Oh, thinking in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa. Dear.
So we had real estate in Leiden. I mean, and we were very well known because of the business in a prominent place in Leiden.
Yes.
My uncle had a cigar shop next door
Yes.
at the same building. When I was young, it was very common for us to be yelled at in the street. Hey, Wallenkamp! Woo!
Oh, really?
People knew us.
Yeah.
We were well known in the city.
Popular.
And yeah, quite popular. And they all knew about the big family. And, Yep.
Yeah.
And they recognized us in the street. So yeah.
Were you aware of it? Could you feel conscious of that?
Yeah, we were proud of it. You know?
Yeah. Oh, no. Cool.
Would you falling pregnant with Paul affect this town? Because at that era, having a child out of wedlock is not kosher.
No, I wasn't aware of it.
No?
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay.
No, at all. And my youngest brother was 9 when I came home. So he played with Paul. And my father was absolutely delighted with little Paul.
It wasn't seen as a scandal.
No,
or
no,
anything
no,
like that.
no, no. Not that I am aware of.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah, forgive me if I pronounce these names wrong. So Har, Pim, and Kluk were concerns. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, as I said, Hart, he was terrible. As I said, he went to 20 high schools before he actually graduated from high school. Then he went to, so that was in 19... Oh, he would have already been to university then. Then he went to university and studied history first, and then law, and failed. So that would be at that time.
Yeah.
Why
was he?
But he was very successful because what he did, he was, we always used to work in restaurants. In our, weekends, holidays, we worked in restaurants. So what he did, he opened his own restaurant. And because he went to university and knew all the students, they all came to his restaurant or for their graduation dinners, for their engagement parties, for their weddings. They all came to the restaurant because he knew everybody.
Yeah. Social like your dad.
Yeah.
Why was he failing university? Was he just distracted?
Could be bothered, just like me.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, and Pim? And Pim, what about
Pim? He was Pim was studying to be a doctor.
Okay.
And he I don't know why, but he had a girlfriend. And at one stage, he was also having trouble with his studies, and they said, "Oh, for heaven's sake, get married."
Okay.
And he got married to her, and then he just finished his studies. No worries at all.
Oh, okay.
Just that settling down.
Yeah, maybe he was like nervous or something like that.
And no, I don't know what that was. He just settled down and finished his studies, and that was it. Yeah.
Kluk, what about him?
Kluk was always happy-go-lucky always, and with never working hard. I don't think he finished high school. Kluk, did he, Paul? I don't know. I don't think so. And when he came home to visit, and my father said, "Kluk, why don't you have a job?" "Oh, Father, why do you have to spoil the atmosphere by talking about money?"
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. What he did was he married a rich woman.
Oh, there we go. Solution. That's one way. Oh.
He had a fantastic personality, funny, happy, really happy, and yeah.
For your parents, because some of your brothers not finishing high school and universities, was it important though to your parents that they had to? Or
well, what can you do as a parent if they don't want to study? If they don't do it? Yeah.
Then you talk about having little pleasure from your children. Did you feel guilty at the time?
Or my father. I think it's about my father, is it?
Yeah.
It's about my father.
Yeah.
That is my perception of it, because they were none of them finishing their studies and giving them trouble, financial trouble. And then there's me having a baby in Australia. I mean, how bad can it get? That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Did you feel guilty at the time?
I can't remember. Yes, probably a bit. Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah.
You don't want to, disappoint your parents, do you?
Yeah, no. For the first time in this letter, you used the word shameful. Did you feel ashamed? Did you feel shame for your family? Or did you feel that you had caused them an embarrassment?
Probably a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd be nervous.
Yes, that's right. And you always want to do the traditional thing.
Yeah. Do your best.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did you have confidence that your parents loved having lots of children and that your son would simply become part of the gang?
Yes, I think I would. I don't know if my mother wanted that many children, but then in those days you had no choice.
Yes, yeah.
Especially when was the pill invented? In the 60s? In the early 60s?
Not sure.
Yeah.
What does your mom think about the pill? Have you ever talked to her?
No, never talked about it. It's a Chinese. I never asked her.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, they're the things she wouldn't talk about much. Yeah.
Did you think that your father would like Paul?
Yes. Because we went home on the Aquilo Lauro on a boat, 6 weeks on a ship. Mm-hmm. And and they had all sorts of things to keep the passengers happy, especially crossing the Indian Ocean. Yeah. And Paul won the baby competition.
Won a baby competition?
The most popular baby on board. Oh God, I had a hell of a time on that ship because I had a cheap fare, and I had to share the cabin with 2 other women, and Paul and me. So of course he was only
2.
Yeah, just 2.
The terrible 2s.
He'd wake up in the middle of the night, 2:00, and what do you do with a baby who starts crying in the middle of the night, 2:00? Yeah. You get out and you go on board on deck. Yeah. And now here I was walking around with Paul on deck at 2:00 in the morning. Whoa. A long wait for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's why I went to bed at 7 when I was on the boat. I always had the early dinner, and then at 7:00 we both went to bed to sleep. Yeah. Because he woke up at 2:00 again. Oh, but he won the cutest baby competition.
You would be tired and moving all the time in such little space.
There wasn't much room in and you didn't want to disturb the other women in the same cabin. So, but there was a pool on board, so he played in a pool and you had to have a constant, because he was at the age pick up, throw up. Oh, yeah. So you had to be constantly there that he wasn't going to pick up people's stuff and throw it overboard. Oh, gosh.
Here you tell your father that you hope that keeping the baby was the correct decision. Did thinking about him and writing to him at this point of the letter bring back doubts? Did you not want to seem too confident? What advice would your father have given about?
I don't know. I never discussed that with him. No. I know it was a relief to get home and share a little bit, share the responsibility. I mean, a big house full of people, and Paul loved it. My father loved him. Everybody loved Paul because he was so cute. Yeah. I mean, my sister-in-law, who married my second brother, who was the doctor, she tells me now that they used to say, it was evening, 8:00 after dinner. It's light until 10:30 in Holland. Yeah. Let's go to your parents' house and look at Paul. Oh, no. They just used to come and just.
Did that make you feel happy that so many people loved?
Yeah, so many people. So it was really the right decision to come home. And and my mum takes everything in her stride. She never tells you how she feels.
Yeah. But she showed affection. You call upon the Holy Father to assist and guide you. Was this true, or did you write this for the benefit of your parents? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Just to, because you said you didn't go to
See,
church.
yeah. Although my mom was a Protestant and converted to Catholicism, she was a very devout Catholic all her life, right up to the end. So used to go to church every Sunday up until she was well in her 80s.
Yeah. And your father, was he religious?
Yeah.
But just didn't go. It was just.
It was just, he made us walk to the church every Sunday morning, 7:00 mass.
Yeah.
Because, we'd get home at 8:00, have breakfast, get ready to go out, and we'd all hop in the car and go somewhere. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to get that going to church out of the way, so we could go out in the car.
Yeah, it was like a chore maybe.
Yeah, more or less.
You saved 465 Australian pounds. How did you do this and how long?
But of course, when I worked in Threadbow, in a hotel, I didn't spend any money. I was just, meals were included, so we just got paid, so I just banked it all.
Nice. And they paid well there? For being
just regular rates, rates.
Yeah. Did you not like the idea of going home because you were a single mother, or was it truly because you loved Australia?
I love Australia.
Loved Australia.
That's why we're back.
Yeah. We're
Yes.
here. We're here.
I got married and
yeah.
That was a famous day in April. We were married a year and a half or so. Not even that long.
Yeah.
It was in April, which is the beginning of spring in Holland. And here was this snowstorm outside. And I said to my husband, you know what? We don't have to put up with this shit weather. I know a good place where we can go, and there's 8 hours, 9 months of sunshine and 3 months of winter. I thought he wouldn't like it, but he did.
Oh,
he did all the research to go into Australia, and so we went.
But it happens when I'd be standing in a pub in Leiden, and then I'd have a 70-year-old woman who happened to be in there drinking with friends. She'd come up to me and say, you are a Barman Combine. Which one are you? From who? And then you just get stories.
Sorry.
Her brothers rampantly had sex with so many women in Leiden. It's terrible.
I don't know about that.
God.
The things we are finding out in this documentary. No.
That's a whole new documentary.
Yeah.
When I think of you, God knows I'm always